Hello, good evening. My name is Edward Debrah, Chief Executive Officer, ED Consults Limited. ED Consults Limited is an indigenous health and safety consulting company based in Ghana. We are based in Ghana, but we don't work for only Ghanaians. We work for all over. We work for people all over the world, in Europe, in America, Middle East, everywhere. ED Consults is a health and safety training institution that prides itself with leadership trainings, grooming the next generation of safety professionals, supporting companies develop their health and safety management systems, and then also offer regulatory compliance assignments for companies. When I talk of regulatory compliance, I am referring to businesses that need the right licensing to operate in Ghana. Most of these businesses struggle to access those licenses. They sometimes are burdened with the challenge of where to go for what. We serve as that conduit to support said businesses to get the right licenses and also support them maintain the licenses so they could work without any breaches of the laws of Ghana.
Now, my name is Kobiche and you're welcome to Kobiche News. Now, we're going to talk about health and safety. I mean, as you introduce your company. First of all, how long have you been running this company?
So, ED Consults Limited has been in existence since it was legally registered 3 years ago. But I started off giving advisory support for businesses as far as 7 years ago. That time I wasn't making any money, I was just supporting them, advocacy, trying to develop my skills further and try to see how it would be to set up a registered business.
Great. Now, there are a lot of areas that one will say, you could have just chosen, but you chose the path of health and safety. Why though?
So the interesting thing about health and safety is that whilst I was studying in the UK between 2011 and 2012, I chanced on an exercise in one of my modules, risk assessment, where we had to review the British petroleum blowout in the Gulf of Mexico. Then I identified a lot of lapses that happened within the system. So the question I asked myself was, even in the Western world, where it is assumed or it's assumed that everything works perfectly, these things could happen. How much more my country, Ghana? So when I go back home, I was so excited to start health and safety so I could be able to change the narrative as it is in our system. Fortunately for me, I found a job with an oil company that gave me a health and safety role. From that time, I realized that I still didn't have all the skills and knowledge, so I decided to go further. Then in 2015, the icing on the cake. This might hurt a lot of people, but then again, in health and safety, we learn from accidents. So the blowout at Kwame Nkrumah Circle in 2015, June 3rd, actually further enlightened me to do well, to do more as a health and safety professional. So my sole aim for getting to health and safety is to support the development of policies, procedures that will align with our job activities so everybody who leaves their home to go to work can know or will be confident that they will come back home in peace, not in pieces.
Beautiful. Now, someone who has a background of health and safety, sitting back and looking at the nation or the country Ghana, how do you think we are really working towards our health and safety?
Well, in Ghana, this is a very difficult question to answer, but I'll try to answer it as practical as I can. In Ghana, we've got almost all the laws that all the advanced countries have got. Our challenge is the enforcement. There are institutions that are mandated by law to carry out tasks. Most of these institutions, most of the time, are under-resourced. Because of that, they are not able to carry their full mandate. That said, there's still a lot of room for improvement. As the global economy is evolving, I believe that attention is being paid to a lot of these things that in future will inure to our benefit. Let me take us back to COVID-19. When COVID came, clearly, we really didn't have a plan. We were relying on policies and programs that advanced countries had put out, and we're trying to tailor them to fit our own system. Assuming we had a working health and safety institution in Ghana, they would have developed the standards for all industries, for all persons, organizations, that everybody would have followed. Rather, we were looking at the CDC, we were looking at the UK system, the Australian system, and fusing all together. Mind you, all those places are advanced, e-commerce wise and all of that. So you realize that Australia, New Zealand, Belgium, Denmark were able to lock their countries down for more than a month. Some even did 3 months straight and nothing happened. In our country, we did only 3 weeks and our country economy collapsed. What that means is that there's still a lot of work to be done. So I believe that health and safety, as though it is young in Ghana, over time it will catch up and things will begin to change. Now, the more accidents happen and the more we learn from them, the more health and safety is improved. We've learned a lot of things from the disasters, as I mentioned, Kwame Nkrumah Circle, Atomic Junction, Trade Fair, now Apiate. All of them have taught us different lessons one way or the other that I feel would make us do better and put our hearts where it is supposed to be. Because if people can go to work and come back home safely, you are assured that they will do more to protect themselves at work.
Now, let me push you a little bit. You mentioned that of Kwame Nkrumah Circle, Apiate, recently Atomic. Now, for you, why do you think that our leaders always want to wait for issues like this to crop up before they take any action? What do you think is the problem and what is the remedy?
So the whole idea is the understanding. What we don't know, we can't regulate. Once we get the basic training, the understanding and the skills, I believe we'll do better. And then again, we are always reactive in our system. In Ghana, we are never proactive. We can anticipate that the danger would arise, but we are not always ready to push ourselves or to plan ahead to curtail some of these things. Another example, in Ghana we have only 2 seasons. It is either raining or it is sunny. But all the time we are caught in floods. Are you saying our leaders don't know when it rains and when the sun shines? They do know, but we are always reactive. Then we always tend to think that, oh, nyaminti AC. It is good following the principles of God. It's another thing working hard to ensure the right things are done. Even the Bible tells us that there's no food for the lazy man. If you don't work, you can't eat. That same way, if you want to survive or you want to be successful in everything you choose to do, it is important that you always look ahead to even predict to see how things are happening. Let me give you an example. You see the millionaires in this country, the rich men, all of them are able to anticipate the future needs of people and they are able to profess solutions to those needs. That is how they make money. Making money is finding a solution to a problem. So if we want to do better, we want to change the whole thing the way it is, we should be able to look ahead and see how we are going to survive. How we're going to face ourselves in the situation to ensure survival. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah did the motorway about 60-something years ago. He had foresight. Now we are all using the same motorway. Assuming successive governments after Nkrumah had also constructed same motorways, would have had a lot of roads, that would have been better for us. But is that the case? To the point that even maintaining the motorway is a problem. So clearly, we do not see as far as we are supposed to see, but we are only thinking about the now. So it's important we begin to change that narrative. Let's look into the future. Let's see how we can push ourselves. Let's see how we can change the entire narrative of being more reactive rather than being proactive. If you are able to look into the future, we can predict the trends, the times, and the changes. That way, we'll be able to find ways of dealing with them when they come.
Will you also admit that our institutions are weak? Now, why am I saying this? You notice that we have a Ministry of Roads and Highway. Now, as I speak to you now, you move on the N1 and you notice that a lot of the traffic lights are not working. A lot of the building structure, the road structures, some need some urgent fixing, but nobody seems to care. Meanwhile, we have an institution which is responsible of going around to fixing some of these minor problems, to avoid future dangers. What do you think our institution must also do so that we avoid some of these things?
So like I said, we've got to put our money where our interest is. It is very important that we I've overlooked so many things that are very important to us. There are laws in the country that I feel need a little bit more attention with enforcement. Because the institutions that are not working, clearly it's as a result of politics, I would say. Because the people put the leadership or the government in place. That same people frustrate the system. I always say that we are a reflection of our political leaders. The people who vote, the electorate, we are actually the reflection of the people who vote for as our leaders. If we begin to change our mindset and vote along issues and not partisan politics and tribal issues, then clearly we can't move our country forward. But if we begin to look at people who have plans, structures, programs that is going to benefit the entire citizenry, and we vote along those lines, it will change. So those institutions, people are manning them. But if the people manning them begin to believe in the Ghana agenda, you know that you will see a lot of changes happening. But if they do not believe in the Ghana agenda and they believe in the party manifesto, we will be where we are. We won't see any progress. And this is not me being negative, but this is me stating the truth. I've had the opportunity of living outside the country before, and I've lived back home as well. And I can tell you that the challenges we have is clearly the citizenry. Once we are able to change the way we think, change the way we do things, change the way we react to issues, we will be able to change the entire narrative. But if we don't do that, the institutions will continue to be porous, to be poor, and we will forever remain where we are.
Now, what will you also say in regards to children in Ghana? Because growing up, if, for instance, I've had the opportunity of my parents taking me through some health and tips, because you notice that, like you mentioned, you've lived, both outside and home, and you notice that most of the children out there are always conscious about health and safety, even children. So what do you think can be done so that right from childhood will program your mindset to be aware of certain dangers that might affect you in future? Okay,
so they said catch them young and they shall be yours forever. I believe in education. I'm very big on education. Fortunately, I was born to parents who were both educationists. They are both of blessed memory. One thing that they gave me was education. So I know that to change my narrative from, say, being an underprivileged person to a privileged person, it only takes education. Good education for that matter. Currently, our curriculum in our schools, even to the secondary school level, touches nothing on health and safety, touches nothing on any just a development that will aid anybody in trying to be conscious of their own well-being. That is why a lot of people these days are suffering from a lot of mental health ailments, because the structures are not supporting the people. It's about time we look holistically about our educational curriculum. The world of work is changing. We can't continue to make canoes and think that we are going to run ships. Canoe and ship are not the same. If we don't change the curriculum, the structure of education, it's going to remain like that. And it's not going to help in any way. Now, I have got a friend or a business partner in Scotland. She runs an NGO. And the NGO basically is about health and safety, educating the younger ones from age 6 till about 13. When you visit her facility, you would see how railways sounds when the train is moving, the sound of the ring or the rail, when the vehicle is horning, the sound, all of that. So young kids from maybe primary school and things like that go to the woman's facility to have real life experience of how it is out there. With that mentality, when they grow and they get to the traffic light, they know red obviously means stop, yellow means get ready, and green means go. In Ghana, we just recite it. When you see the traffic light, there is something you should know. Red means stop, yellow means get ready, green means go, 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 and go. We just recite in Ghana. Where I was born in the Brown region in Wenchi, I saw no traffic light, but I learned this poem in school. So if I see the real case scenario, how am I supposed to know that this is it? Talk about ICT education as well. There are people in schools who have never seen a computer, but they are supposed to be doing the same things with the people in Accra who have seen computers. How did they even survive it? You get it? So clearly, we've got to find a way of changing our educational system to suit job specifications and not just reading, chewing, pouring, and forgetting. We've got to change our educational system to reflect the current dispensation for people to be relevant in whatever field that they've chosen to operate in.
Amazing. Now, one of the tool or one instrument that can also help serve this purpose is the media. For you, as someone who has knowledge with health and safety, what do you think the media should also do? Because the media also plays a very important role in nation development. What do you think their role should also be?
So the media should support people like us, advocate, share knowledge and all of that. Because one thing I've noticed is that people feed on the media a lot, especially in the advent of social media. A lot of people have turned themselves into influencers, showing some negative things that are not so great, but people consume such content. So it's two-way actually. Those who are consuming the content and those who are putting out the content, all of them have a role to play in making sure things work the way they're supposed to be. So the media should give platforms for people to share views on such national discourse. Lately, it is changing because I get opportunity of speaking at most of the radio stations and TV stations in Accra, especially on health and safety, when matters arise, like the Apiachi disaster. I was fortunate to have spoken on Asasi Radio. I was fortunate to have spoken on Joy News, and all of them shared my views, and then people realized that, oh, we didn't even know such people even existed to share views on that. So I believe gradually it is getting there, but there's still more to be done. If the media would take their time to censor some of the adverts that they play, I believe it would help, because there's too much profanity within our space than people talking about real things that will change the mindset of people for the better.
Now, if you are to meet His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, to discuss our health and safety issues with him, under 1 minute, what will you tell him?
This is going to be a tough one. Mr. President, we know you've done so much for the country and you are still at it, but I would plead with you, please speak to the parliamentarians so that they could prioritize the bill before them. It's long overdue. As far as I'm concerned, it's been there for the past 12 years. It needs to see some action. There are so many people dying that are needless. Road accidents left, right, and center. All of these things are happening. It's education. We need to have a body, mandated people who will go around disseminating such information, punishing recalcitrant people, and trying to change the whole face of how the Ghanaian look at the safety, the health, and the well-being of the other Ghanaian. It is important that this can only work with leadership commitment, visible leadership commitment. We know you've done so much, but there's still a little bit more to be done. And if you are able to look at this for us, I believe that a lot of people would have hope that they can actually go to work and come back in peace. Most employers alike will refuse to even buy the basic necessities that employees need to do safe work. If Mr. President is able to support, pass this health and safety bill into law, there will be legal basis for such employers to probably lose their businesses, lose their contracts, pay hefty fines that will serve as a deterrent to others for them to do the right thing. So, Mr. President, action now.
Right. Practically, apart from we hearing your voice and advocating and sending out messages, measures, and all those things, practically, what are you also doing from your outfits to help push this agenda?
So like I said, we do a lot of advocacy. Last year, this year, we've done a lot of advocacy on radio, on TV, on UTV, where we try to share knowledge. On Hope Channel, we try to do the same, Asasi Radio, Joy TV, and all of them. We plan to have a National Health and Safety Conference later this year. And the theme for the conference will be the safety profit. We are trying to dissect how profitable it will be for employers, government institutions alike to prioritize health and safety of their workers. I believe that will be a very great corporate social responsibility that my outfit will be channeling out. And I hope that you come out in your numbers to support this so that we can reach a larger and further audience with our good news.
Now, one of the things that I also want to suggest to your outfits is the fact that there seems to be the elite or class, the elite people who really want to buy into these ideas. Now, when you go on the road, health and safety, like a typical example is what happened at Pierre. Those people that you saw rushing to the scene, most of them are the masses who don't have no idea about health and safety. They might not be having access to TV or radio to listen to some of these things that you go on air to speak about. Now, I would suggest that you also go on the field, especially to the hawkers on the streets. Have one-on-one interaction with them, discuss with them. Let's go down to the roots so that they will know that we care about them, but not just sitting on TV and radio to have those discussions. Please, if you're going to do this for me, this is personally from me, Kobiche, that your outfit should go on the streets. Speak to the people, the hawkers, the mothers, the fathers, that they should be careful, even crossing the traffic lights and when they, all those things. I don't know if you have something to say about that, though.
I see that trend happening all the time. And when I see that, I laugh. I laugh because I am coming from a strict background where I know the risk involved in people standing on the roadside. If you ask me, honestly, they have no business standing on the roadside and begging. If you ask me.
Now, what about those selling?
Those selling will have to have a rethink, because in the bid to look for 10, 20 cedis, a vehicle can knock you down and you might have a life-threatening injury that you probably might not be able to walk or even on the streets again. So it's about time that the vocational institution, the TVET that government is talking about, all these people on the streets are moved away from the streets compulsorily so that they can have decent lives, to learn a trade somewhere that will benefit them in the long term. Because if you get maimed, how are you going to come to the road to come and beg? It is important that we try to have policies that will support them. I know in 2016 at some point, the Vice President talked about some Kaya Ye hostel and all of that. It's the time we need to see those actions come into fruition. It's not just enough to tell us sweet things to get our votes, and then when you come into government, they begin to give us other stories here and there. It doesn't help much. Let's move into action and change the narrative. We can do it in Ghana. We can do it. We've done it before, and I know we can do it. So let's begin to have a mindset change and push toward that direction. And I believe that posterity will judge all of us kindly. So it's important that we try to prioritize that. Let me also end by saying that I was born by a blind man. My dad was blind. For as far as I'm alive now, since my dad gave birth to me, he never saw me physically. The only time my dad will see me is when he touches me just to feel me. But my dad was not on the street. He wasn't begging on the street. Some people these days, when I see them blind, they are walking on the street and begging. I don't give money to those people because I feel they're lazy. My dad was blind. He was educated up to the university level. Even though he was blind, he had livestock, he was able to take care of his family. All his kids have gone through the university. He's no more, but all his kids have gone through the university. He was a blind man. So what excuse do you have? That you've got both hands and legs working properly and you are standing on the street begging. That attitude must stop. It's about time we start putting straight measures in place to stop people from doing some of these things. It is actually creating a nuisance. Traffic threats and all of them. The next minute they will become armed robbers. You'll be sitting in your vehicle and they are attacking you because you refuse to give them freebies. So it's about time we take serious action and serious look at this. Social welfare, these are the things that I expect you to champion. Child Rights International, all of them, instead of chasing a Kwapin Polo and taking them to jail, these are people who need help. Let's see how we can rid our streets of all these Malians and all these Sri Lankan people on our streets begging. And if you refuse to give them gifts, they begin to insult you. Let's change that narrative. Else, in no time, vehicle will start running over them, and we are still going to spend the taxpayers' money to still give these people mass burial, which for me, it's not the right way to go. Let's nip it in the bud now before it becomes a catastrophe tomorrow.
Thank you. Share your final words with us and your social media platform.
Right, so finally, I would like to say that, Kobe, thank you so much for this opportunity to share my views. Viewers, you could follow me on Twitter at the Eddie Debs, Instagram, the same handle at the Eddie Debs, and then you can also follow me on Twitter, ed-consults, same on Instagram, ed-consults. You could follow me on any of these handles, and we are willing to interact with you as well. If you have questions, you could DM me and I'll share my views with you as well. I am not the repository of knowledge, but what I know, I will share. So if you have any concerns, questions, whatsoever, get in touch. I'm glad to hear from you.
Would you love to share your telephone number, like business number or something?
You could reach me on 0244 164 671. 0244 164 671.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.